Well, hello, all our Star Vista Live fans and watchers out there, whether you're from the Malt Shop Memories Cruise or the Country Music Cruise or any of the other cruises just stopping by for some other content. I'm your virtual cruise host, Jason, and thanks for tuning in to another edition of All Access Pass from Home. Today, I'm excited to be joined by these three fantastic gentlemen, Pete, Anthony, and Jay, or as many of you know them and recognize them, are Elvis tribute artists. Well, three of our Elvis tribute artists. There's more of you than this, obviously. I should
all the
say,
best people are here, though, Jason.
the best ones. Yeah, we only wanted the best ones. I hope the other guys are watching.
No, don't. Hopefully not. Right?
First and foremost, gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to be here with us. Do appreciate it. How is everyone feeling? Jay, we'll start with you so we don't talk all over each other. How you doing, buddy?
Well, we're feeling really, really good. Kind of isolated.
Amen.
Yeah, no, we're doing well, and I hope everybody else is too. How you guys doing?
We're doing great, man. Where in the world are you dialing in from?
I'm in in Guelph, Ontario, about an hour east of Toronto, or west of Toronto.
How do you feel like all of this is being handled up there in Canada? And I don't mean governmentally. I mean from a personal perspective. Are people being pretty respectful? People doing the social distancing and the whole 9 yards? Or
it took a little bit of a little shock of a time to start it, but yeah, everyone's doing their thing. We go out, everyone's wearing masks. My wife went to Costco, and they're doing the 6-footer and everything is really, really good. It really is good.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad you guys are.
It won't last much longer, and we'll be on outside.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Anthony, I'm going to jump over to you. How you feeling, buddy? How's things where you're at?
Really good. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm in Minnesota, and it's actually snowing outside. Happy Easter, everybody. Oh, my goodness. There's honestly, there must be 2-3 inches of snow out there. It was 70 at the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. It's the end of days. You know it's the end of days. We have a plague. There's locusts in the Middle East. There's snow on Easter. I mean, things are getting really weird here. Well, great, man. I'm glad to hear you're happy and healthy. And I'm good to see you took a shower.
Where are you, Jacob?
I'm Portland, Oregon. We're in Portland, Oregon.
How is it over there?
Stunning. It's about 60, mid-60s and sunny.
All right,
and
that's enough.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Just showing off. It's 32 here.
Well, you were saying a minute ago off camera that it's a good thing you even took a shower. You said your wee daughter told you.
It was. I think I did 7 days, but you're going to speak to Pete in a minute. I think he did 9. So
I shower every day.
Yeah.
Well, Pete looks like it's been rough. That's all I'm going to say. Poor Pete.
Yeah.
Pete, we'll jump to you, buddy. Where are you calling in from?
Yeah, just from southeast London in the UK. Weather's been great, actually. It's turned a little bit chilly today, but it's sunny and bright. With regards to the virus, yeah, it took a little while. People weren't really following the rules at first, and then I think now they realise just how serious it all is, and they're behaving themselves.
Well, that's a good start. Is this unfounded rumor spreading around by Anthony true that you took 9 days without a shower?
It's all lies, Jason. I don't know where he's plucked that from at all.
I could smell him from here.
He actually told me 10 days, and his daughter wouldn't get into bed with him because he stunk so badly.
Well, no, let's do that conversation again. My daughter wouldn't get into bed with me.
Yeah, let's start
My
again.
daughter's 3.
You were allowed for snuggles.
Yeah, snuggles. And then she said to me, Dad, can you get out? And I was like, why? She said, because you stink. You're gross. I was like, all right. Yeah. That's it. So shower and shave.
Pete, who are you holed up with there in England?
With my parents, yeah. I was actually living in Spain, but I managed to get a flight back to here, back in London, just in time before they kind of put the lockdown on all the flights. So I'm glad of that, really. Get to look after them, do their shopping for them, and have some company as well, rather than being stuck in Spain on my own as well. So
amen. And I'll start with you since I'm talking to you directly. What are you doing to fill your time? How are you filling your quarantine days?
Well, I'm just glad for this interview because it's give me something to do. It's give me a reason to shower and put some new clothes on.
I see you representing the Malt Shop Cruise.
What am I doing? Like I said, I watched the whole. in two different
It's
styles.
a walking billboard.
But, yeah, I watched. I've been watching Game of Thrones mainly. That's what I've been doing. Binge watching 8 seasons of that.
That'll take
That's
up
pretty
some
much
time.
it. I've downloaded a learn how to play guitar with Fender. Fender are doing a deal at the moment. Fender Play. They're doing free guitar lessons for 3 months. So I've learned that, and I'm trying to get the motivation to learn how to be a better guitarist.
Nice. Good time to do it. This is a very good time to do it. Anthony, how about you, mate? What are you doing to fill your days other than?
Binge watched lots of movies, as we all have. Actually, I took the guitar out and strummed it a bit. I'm terrible.
Okay.
I'm terrible. I've got a piano too, and there you go, guitar there, piano there.
Oh yeah.
Anthony, tell them the story about when you bought my guitar off me.
Oh yeah. Well, Pete and I have been friends since I was about 19, 20, Pete.
That
I didn't realise it was so long, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, about 20 years I've been friends with Pete, and I used to own 3 pubs back in London at one point, and Pete used to come over and we used to do a jam session, and we used to sing along and stuff. They said, I'm trying to sell this guitar. I said, oh yeah. And he said, can you hold it for a minute? I said, how much do you want for it? I can't remember what do you want for it at that time?
It was 50 quid. Nothing.
It was £50, which is about $70. And then I dropped it and cracked it. And he said, oh, for fuck. Oh, sorry, we can't say that.
That'll be,
I did say that, actually, yeah.
Don't worry, we'll handle that later.
Yeah, we're all adults.
And I cracked it, and he said, well, give us 25 quid for it. It's broken, isn't it? So I broke his guitar, and then he gave me half price.
I think you got swindled, Pete. I think
he swindled himself.
The moral of that story is don't ever let Anthony anywhere near any of your guitars.
Nothing priceless or breakable, that's for sure.
Exactly. Anything breakable is a better rule, yeah.
Jay, how about you, sir? What are you doing up there near Toronto?
I've been very fortunate. There's 4 of us isolated in our house, and John Jarvis.
The wonderful, the great John Jarvis.
We've been together for the last 4 weeks. They came up just before the border was shut down to visit, and we're here. They can't go home right now, so we've been doing parodies. And
I was gonna say you're doing parody videos.
Yeah, we've been doing parodies. We got borders, so we just started doing parodies, not to make light of the situation, but just to bring some laughter to it somehow. And yeah, we've been doing that. We did just jamming. Yeah, and watch a lot of TV. Star Wars 1 through 9.
Star Wars 1 through 9.
I think
that's
we're gonna start with the
TV.
Batman series next.
There's a few of those.
I'm happy because she doesn't like those movies, but hey, what are you gonna do? I'm stuck. That was the time. See, I've been practicing my whole life for this, and now who's laughing? I've been practicing my whole life to stay inside.
I think there's a misconception in parody and in humor that we're making fun, that anyone is making fun of the situation, when it's completely the opposite. The situation is the reality. This is where we are. This is what's going on. We're all stuck inside, or relatively inside, and because we're in this spot, it is what it is. So yeah.
I lost a friend last week. It's awful. It's okay. But it is awful. I mean, we all, when it first started, we were like, oh yeah, but it's just like the flu. You get the flu, you get better. It's like, but then when it hit home, and they were a family friend. I'm 38, and for 38 years we've been friends, and it can't. When it hits home, you go, yeah, this is terrible.
This is
and a friend of ours, like a friend of mine, Nick, he's a Broadway star. He just did Bronx Tale, and a friend of my ex-wife, and 42 years old. Nothing wrong with him, Broadway star, big lungs, fit and healthy, and everything going for him. He went to the hospital 2-3 weeks ago for pneumonia. They sent him home with some antibiotics, and then they took him back, and now he's struggling for his life. He can't get enough oxygen through the body, so it's no joke,
No, it isn't. It really isn't. And that's one of the reasons, that we're doing these interviews. I've been fortunate enough to interview a whole bunch of stars, a whole bunch of our favorites from the cruises, most specifically, not because we can make anybody better, but because at least we can help those that are doing their best to stay at home and those that are social distancing. And I thought this was a great opportunity to sit down with you three gentlemen and talk a little bit about what it is to be in the tribute world and what brought you into the tribute world in general and Elvis specifically. Pete, what about you, mate? What made you decide that this was a route you wanted to take?
Well, firstly, I was always a fan of Elvis as a child, and in the summer holidays, they would always put his movies on repeat. And basically, if you've seen any of his movies, he was always the hero in those movies. Yeah. So to like a 7-year-old, 6-year-old child, I was naturally drawn to this hero in all the films. A bike rider, a pilot, and in the GI Blues and everything. He was the man. And of course, that coupled with the music, I was hooked basically from an early age. But I didn't really. The first notion, the first idea, seed that went into my head of becoming a tribute artist was I was on holiday in Tenerife in Europe, just off of Spain, and me and my friend we could hear Elvis in the background, and we'd had a few drinks, and we sprinted to this bar, and there was an Elvis guy, and we was like, yeah, we was having a great time, and I said to my friend, I'm going to get up and do a song, and I went up and did "Love Me Tender." I didn't even know the words. I got up and managed the back when Elvis had finished. The band let me do a song with them. And I sang "Love Me Tender," and basically they offered me a job. They said, "You're better than the Elvis we've got." Sweet. But I didn't do anything about it for a good few years. But the idea was in my head then, and so eventually I kind of stopped procrastinating and had some singing lessons, and borrowed a friend's jumpsuit and jumped in.
Borrowed a friend's jumpsuit.
Yeah. I borrowed my mate's jumpsuit. I hired out my soccer team's clubhouse and made it a ticket event, and borrowed the jumpsuit. I hired the PA, bought the backing tracks, and it was a great success. And from that, I actually got two gigs, follow-up gigs from that first show. So it snowballed all from there, really.
Sure. Oh, that's awesome. Jay, what about you?
That Pete was in. I'm a big Elvis fan, and it pursued with Elvis because I loved his music. And in Toronto, there was this TV station called CTV, and they had this thing called Speaker's Corner, where you could go in, a little booth, put a quarter, put that in, play some songs, and see yourself on a TV show on Sunday. I just want to see myself on TV. That's all it was. So I went down, put my quarter in, sang a song with my guitar. I got a call saying, hey, you just made the top 10 of this competition that we're having. And the final was going to be right before a movie, which was Honeymoon in Vegas. That's when it started for me. So I went to the top 10 competition in front of 600 people, and I won. I loved the feeling of being on stage. That was the first time I performed in front of many people, 600 people. And I loved the feeling. And I pursued it from there. I started with my guitar, one of restaurants, and getting hired to perform for people eating dinners and stuff like that. And at a particular place, there was an agent that got to know me, and they hired me to do weddings and stuff like that. And then just pursued from there, starting to sing at bars, and then competition started. That was another thing. And you meet a lot of great Elvis fans, and they keep motivating you to do more and more. And we end up with you.
There's a pretty big competitive Elvis circuit, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Huge. It's huge. They have this big festival in Memphis, Tennessee, the Ultimate Elvis, which started in 2007, and it just grows and grows and grows every year. They're saying in like 20 years, there'll be 1 in 10 will be an Elvis tribute artist.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I know there's a few out there. I've seen a lot of them, good, bad, and otherwise. There's
so many tribute artists.
It's interesting when you go to like Las Vegas and they're doing some of the tribute stuff in Vegas, and you get to see it used to be, and I don't know, maybe this is wrong, and you can speak to this more than me, but there was a point in time where an Elvis tribute artist was an Elvis tribute artist. And then as it's become more, there are Asian tribute artists. There's black, there's tall, there's short, there's fat, there's skinny. There's every mutation of Elvis out there, you know, and I use the word mutation, obviously, as it's supposed to sound, not to be rude.
But the love is there, Jason.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
I'm trying to say, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Everyone's doing it affectionately. Everyone's doing it. There isn't just one Elvis anymore. There's not just one white guy that's a certain height that sounds and looks and acts.
Yeah.
It's so many different visions of it now, and it's so all.
And we all want to be Elvis. you know.
There's worse people to aspire to be. Anthony, how did you get into it?
I got into Elvis. I remember the day that I got into Elvis. I was about 3 years old, right? I say I remember the day and I say about. But I was about 3 years old and my mum and dad split up. And I found a cassette and I had this Walkman. It was a big red thing. It was like a big cassette tape.
Yeah.
Just hang around my neck and I just put these big orange headphones on with the fluffy ones. And I heard My Boy. And that was the first song I ever heard. And I loved Elvis, and after that it was just like wow. And I remember I didn't see my dad very much all the time that I was growing up, and I loved him, you know. And I remember he was a truck driver. Beat that, right? Elvis, truck driver.
Elvis, truck driver. Yeah.
And he pulled up to the gates at school, and I must have been 5 or 6 years old, and I hadn't seen my dad for a long time. And he pulled up to the gates, and all the kids said, "Your dad isn't Elvis." Your dad. So I obviously thought that Elvis was like Pete, or in the summer holidays and stuff like that. They played all the Elvis movies and stuff. And I got into Elvis like that. And the first Elvis record I got, love songs from Elvis, and it was a cheap release. It was Camden, which is like they had RCA, and then they had a cheaper version, which was Camden Records, and it was on that. So that was my first record, and I just loved Elvis when I was a kid. At 15, I dropped out of school, started singing in nightclubs.
As you do.
Did that. Moved to Spain when I was 18. Tenerife, Cyprus, did a bit in Germany, France, London. Bought 3 bars, screwed that up. Moved to America. Here we are.
Got married twice, screwed them up.
Oh.
And here's the only present my dad ever bought me. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
She's a beauty. Don't drop it.
It's like,
I'll try not to drop it. It's the same, is it, Pete? What is that one?
Mine's an Epiphone. That's yours is a Hagstrom, isn't it?
No, this is a Fender Coronado 2.
Man, give me my ukulele.
Basically, Jason, they're the replicas of the guitar he used in the '68 comeback special when he was in the black leathers, so the red ones. And I've got my pride and joy up here, which is my Gret.
Oh.
That's
which
a nice
is a
guitar.
gentleman, which Elvis used to play live in Vegas in '69 and '70. Yeah, and George Harrison used to play one of those as well.
As
can't play it, I just look at it.
I was just gonna say
they look good, don't they?
Yeah, beautiful wall art. So we were talking a moment ago about the competitive Elvis circuit out there. Have you guys been in part of the circuit, and what's it like?
That's what we all met, is in the circuit.
Pretty much, yeah.
Good and bad.
Yeah,
it's good and bad.
I'm sure.
Lots of politics, like in any walk of life.
Yeah.
You know.
Is it? And how did you guys? You said you guys all met. How did you meet? By going to these competitions and by?
I think I met Anthony and Pete in Memphis for the first time, and then I don't know if Anthony came to Collingwood.
No.
You ever been to Collingwood, Anthony?
Never been to Canada.
Oh, you never been to Canada?
I'm nearly there.
I was going to say you're in Minneapolis. It's like 10 feet away, man. Just take a walk. You'll get there.
Yeah, you can walk across the border. Well, the border's closed now. But when they open it, come on up. We got an extra bedroom.
Yeah, we'll do it.
So you guys all met through this.
I did a competition in Wales in the UK called Images of the King, and the prize for that was to compete in Memphis for the Images of the King finals. And that same year, I decided to go to Collingwood, and I entered that competition and did really well. And then basically I got into that ultimate competition from Collingwood. So in Memphis, I was in 2 competitions by winning 2 other competitions. That was the first time that I'd ever been to Memphis. So it was like just dream come true, you know, incredible. Got to see Graceland and Sun Studios all in 1 year. And yeah, that was the year I met Jay. And of course, Anthony was out there for Elvis Week that year, and we all kind of hung out.
Well, I didn't hang out that much.
I feel like there's a story.
Honest, isn't he?
I have the worst case of nerves, right? I don't know why.
Oh.
He always says this. You're so nervous. I get so nervous that I'll sit in.
Yeah, we did do Graceland together, though, didn't we, Anne?
What's that, mate?
The first time I was in Graceland was the first. Was with you when
it was brilliant.
House. Yeah.
Pete and I met.
I was in Graceland. I almost got kicked out. I was so excited I was there. they got, like, at nighttime, they had the visual on this August 15th. So I'm walking up the driveway, and they got this curb. I'm stumping on the curb. I can't believe I'm in Graceland. I can't believe I'm in Graceland. I got a tap in the back of my shoulder from a security guard. He goes, "If you cut it out, we're going to have to escort you off."
That's crazy. Pete and I met 20 years ago, didn't we?
What's that?
We met about 20 years ago.
We did, and actually that was kind of competition related. It was actually for a Guinness World Record, you know, the Guinness Book of World Records, and it was the most Elvises, or Elvi, if you want to call it that, singing an Elvis song at the same time. We all sung "Viva Las Vegas." I think it's been broken since then, but that was how we met. And they put a little competition on that day as well, and that was the first time I'd ever dyed my hair. First time I'd ever kind of sung in public. It was, and then I met Anthony that day. Yeah, and we kind of became lifelong friends, didn't we? Really?
Yeah, still mates.
Yeah. Interesting, Anthony. If you don't mind, you were mentioning a moment ago, or Pete was outing you a moment ago on your nerves, and you said you get a little stage fright. All of my friends that I have that are tribute artists that do, and I'm going to use horrible terms, so forgive me, but that don't go out necessarily as themselves, that go out as somebody else, that are able to put on the mask of, let's say, an Elvis. Does that help to put on a barrier?
No, I prefer it. I'd much rather go on in my jeans and t-shirt. And this is why I love, like, the Malt Shop cruise and the country cruises, because, you know, we do a couple of nights where we're all fully dressed, and then we do a couple of nights where we're ourselves and we sing the music. When I first started out, when I went to Spain, I was 18 years old, right? Did 2 shows a night, 6 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. 700 something shows a year, right?
Yeah.
Did that for 3, 4, 5 years, right? And I never dressed up. No sideburns. I had short hair. I was nice and tanned. I was a lot slimmer. Yeah, I look like this. I'm sure that we all do it. Oh, yeah. How's my chins looking?
Yeah. Why do you guys have a beard, Nick?
Can hold the camera above.
Yeah, exactly. Pete goes for an overview. Pete's done this right. Yeah.
Yeah, Pete's done it all right, isn't he? Look.
Yeah.
Is your mum still holding that camera, Pete?
Yeah, she said her arm's getting tired.
Yeah. So don't change it. Yes. So yeah. I can't remember what we're talking about now.
No, I was just saying that, you know, the ability to go out as Elvis versus the ability to go out as yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if
stage fright and stuff. When I went out as myself years ago, yeah. No
I think the reason we get stage fright is because we're singing for Elvis fans.
Yeah.
And you want to do a good job. You don't want them to think, whoa, this guy's making fun of Elvis, because we're not. We're real big Elvis fans. All of us are.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I get nervous.
Yeah, we always want to do our best.
Well, I think what I would say is everybody's different. Like Anthony, for instance, is much happier being himself on stage rather than trying to portray a character. Like when he did Liberace on the Malt Shop cruise, he was absolutely petrified before he went on, because he was totally out of his comfort zone, and he had to be in character kind of all the way through. Whereas when he can be himself, he relaxes a lot more. I'm a bit of a mixture, really. If I'm doing a theatre show as Elvis, I try and stay in character, and that's kind of easier for me. but you can kind of ad lib and
You're
mess
so
about
good at it. You're so good at it. Pete came up and did a show with me in Minnesota, and he did Johnny Cash, and he's in character the whole time, and it's brilliant. And I'm sure that lots of people have seen him on the country music cruise doing the Johnny Cash, and it's brilliant. It's
that one I was nervous for because you had a sound check, didn't you? That went on for 3 hours.
Yeah,
and I had no rehearsal with his band. I basically just wrote them out a set list and crossed my fingers and hoped for the best. So I was kind of nervous for that one, but it went great. It did go great.
Jay, what about you? What's it? Do you prefer? I mean, obviously you're dedicated to Elvis, but in terms of your nerves or your dedication to the product, is it easier to go up as Jay or easier to go up as Elvis?
Oh, it's easier to go up as Jay, obviously, because when you put the suit on, you got to pretend that you're Elvis. Not pretend, you got to try to be Elvis.
You got to feel it, right? Yeah.
To see an Elvis show. But I got something to say. Like, we did a Rat Pack show on the Malt Shop last year.
Yeah, that was so good.
We had Marty. Hey, Marty, hope you're watching. We had Marty as our bartender. So what happened is the first day we had Marty giving us drinks, me and Pete and I think Matt Cage was there. He's giving us drinks. And then he comes up with a little idea of the second show. He put real alcohol in one of the drinks. So I have
Marty
water. And I said to Marty, hey, Marty, give me another drink, thinking it's water. So I guzzled it down. And I'm not a big drinker. I'm not. And Pete's like, well, what's this shit? I go, what are you talking about? I'm getting drunk. Well, I'm becoming Dean Martin on stage.
Yeah, you're in part.
Yeah, I'm becoming Dean Martin on stage. And he's laughing. Everyone's laughing. I didn't get it. I was so thirsty.
Honestly, it was hilarious because they were drinking these waters. So I said, "Here, Marty, take this one up," and I filled it with vodka, and they were all drinking vodka, and they're like, "What's going on?"
That was funny. Good one. It brought my nerves down anyway.
Well, yeah, right. I
guess alcohol fixes the nerves.
For the last couple of years, actually, so as Elvis tribute artists for the cruises, no, I'm not speaking globally. I'm speaking just for Malt Shop and Country specifically here. It's interesting because the popularity originally was Elvis. And by popularity from the guests wanted to see Elvis. But steadily over the years, Elvis is still epically popular with our guests, but it's become more
expensive.
Yeah, he was slightly out of our price range.
Yeah.
But the focus of the guests has become more and more about you as artists, you specifically individually, more so than just Elvis. And so as you're talking about doing different characters in different shows, it's really cool to watch the success of those shows. We did the Suncoast on Country, we did the Rat Pack on Malt Shop, and you've all done some little breakouts and some more things. But it's A, your talent has allowed us to do it, but B, your rapport and your relationship to our guests as a whole has allowed us to make a lot of these other things possible, because it's no longer just wanting to see Aunt Jay and Pete and the boys do Elvis. Now it's, I want to see the guys do everything they can do because they love you specifically, not just Elvis, if that makes sense. And it's the success of those other shows has been incredible. I mean, it's filling rooms. It's filled the pool stage. It's the Crow's Nest is standing room only on those, on those nights. We've had to move them around.
Yeah.
And do two of them just because they're the over popular, they're overcrowding rooms.
Wait till they see us do the Supremes.
Who gets to be Diana?
Anthony.
Yeah. Yeah. Pete says, yeah.
Just like that, yeah. Well, I've already done Liberace. Pete says, well, you've done Liberace. Now the next step is drag, isn't it?
It's pretty close. I mean, Pete's not wrong in this. It's only a matter of time. And you were quite comfortable in Liberace. So
I will say that Liberace was the part he was born to play.
I tell you what, though, that is a fun gig, the Liberace thing. Well, look me over.
I had fun sharing your case for you. Yeah, it was funny.
Oh, yeah, it's one of those. It's just like all the jokes are already written by him. Yeah, I only just say the stuff that he says.
Yeah,
and the jokes are already written.
Fun for us though is the fans on the cruise, because they love that music and it's incredible. They really.
Out of all the different shows you do, what do you feel like response-wise from the guests on the cruises, again, sticking to the cruises, not competitions and other stuff.
Okay.
On the cruises, what do you feel, which shows are the fans the most intense for you guys?
They like the jumpsuit show.
For me.
The gospel show, obviously. The rap pack show.
The gospel show. Everyone always says it's their favorite show. The gospel.
The gospel, yeah.
That's the number one, isn't it?
And you were saying the jumpsuits.
The jumpsuits. They like the jumpsuit show. They loved, right? And I just hated that I wasn't part of it. The Rat Pack show. When they did that, that was just hilarious, brilliant singing, brilliant audience interaction. And I was sat in the audience. I'm kind of lucky, and I'm kind of like, I felt left out. I was like, oh, this is so good. Why the hell am I not part of this one? But I also enjoyed it. It was so good. Peter's Dean Martin.
I think for that show, they could tell we were all having so much fun ourselves on stage, and that comes across. So that was the beauty of that show.
It really does. Like Tom Jones' pants were? My God, I had to help him get up from the seat.
Yeah.
Painted on, aptly so.
Painted on.
I'm going to put you on the spot, and if there's not an answer, that's totally fine as well. What other tributes do you do individually? I mean, obviously we've done some Rat Pack, we've done some Suncoast. So, Jay, I'll start with you. Outside of Elvis, who else do you like to do?
I do Tony Orlando. Jim Croce.
Yeah. I'm noticing a trend. Yeah.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
I like singing Dean Martin songs, Frank Sinatra. I do the Rat Pack songs. I don't do the character because I just love singing the songs. But Tony Orlando gave him a stab at it, and Jim Croce.
That's cool. Yeah. Pete, what about you, buddy?
Well, I was just thinking, like, Linda's like always up for new ideas, and she's like, who else can you do? And I'm at the end of my repertoire, really. I've done Dean Martin, and I've done Johnny Cash, and Neil Diamond, of course, as well. I did on one of them. So I've run out of artists, really, but trying to think of someone else I could do. There was another festival we doing in Spain, an Elvis festival, where on the opening night we do it. This year was gonna. They sometimes do a Legends thing, but this year it was going to be 80s Legends. So unfortunately, it got cancelled because of the virus. But I'd learned 3 songs as Human League, so I was going to be doing a Human League tribute. But I don't know how well that'll go down on the country.
I don't know how well that'll fit on ours, but I appreciate that effort. Ant, what about you, mate?
Well, I've always done Elvis. I like the musical songs, You at the barricade, listen to this, all that kind of stuff. I like all that. What have I done on the cruises? Barry Manilow, did a bit of that. Glenn Campbell, I really enjoyed the Glenn Campbell stuff. Really enjoyed that.
What about the Roy Orbison, Ant?
Yeah, that was good.
We were talking about stage fright earlier, and that was the most nervous I've ever seen Anthony was before he had to do Roy Orbison. It was like he was full on panic attack.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
I'd like to do some Engelbert Humperdinck though.
Oh,
but I don't want to do him with the sideburns. I want to do the big touch.
That's Jay's territory.
Yeah,
leave the tash to Jay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be good though, Engelbert?
That probably would work, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Please release.
Oh God, you're auditioning.
Go.
I'm gonna give you a little secret, Anthony. Are you listening, Anthony? You just auditioned in front of Linda for that, so you got it.
Never mention anything in front of Linda. You know the rules, right? Or if one of the big time cruisers that's been on every malt shop is Marty Gallagher, and he says, "Oh, Anthony, it'd be great doing some Barry Manilow." Well, guess what I was doing the next year? He says, "Oh, you'd be great doing this." I said, "Marty, stop it."
Yeah, quit now.
Next thing you know.
Jay, everyone keeps mentioning this mythical Linda. Why don't you introduce us to who Linda is?
Here. Come on in. She's camera shy like Janine.
That's fine.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Tell us who Linda is, though.
Well, Linda is the the producer of the show. She's the one that got us all on your cruise.
Mhm.
So she puts the shows together. I help her out, but
She's our
back
boss.
going to the whole Elvis shows.
Well, we love Linda to death, and obviously most people that have done the country music cruise or the malt shop cruise, and she sneaks on another cruise or two. I hear you over there, Linda, and we obviously I won't out what cruises you like to come and play on as yourself, but she most people know her from the country music and the malt shop cruise is a huge part of what we do, and a wonderful connection for us because it led us to all of you, which I mean I know I speak on behalf of the guests. I'm a little terrified, by the way, of what Ant's about to come back as. I feel like he just went to get dressed.
I hope he's still wearing pants.
Well, he's probably coming back as a new character.
Yeah, I'm a little scared, but that's fine. But I know I speak on behalf of the guests when I say how appreciative we all are to have you guys on, not just for your Elvis talent, but for personalities and being good citizens of the being good citizens of the cruise as well. You know, it's we were just saying, Anthony, that you know it's one thing to come on board as a great artist, but it's appreciated when we have you as good citizens as well. You know, the guests are quick to tell us if they don't like somebody, if somebody doesn't fit, if someone's not nice in the hallways, if someone isn't pleasant during breakfast, they'll let us know quickly, and not just you, just in general.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's one of the cool things, the interesting things with these charters is, especially for guys like you and the rest of the Elvi, as Pete said, is your regulars. You know, you get to come on so many of them. You really do get to know these guests.
Oh, we love the guests, and I think I can speak on behalf of all of us. You know, a couple of guys aren't with us right now, but we have such a good time, and I can't wait to go and meet them. I mean, we've spoken about a couple of guests today, and it's like, we can't wait to get on there, and we enjoy each other's company. And, you know, Jason, I've met you, well, we've known each other for 5 years now?
Yeah, 6 years, almost 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years. And we don't see each other for a good 10 months of the year. And then it's like one of us just went down the store to get a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Right. And we all get back. And that's the community that Star Vista has created. And it's fantastic.
It's like a reunion every year, and you get to see people that you've not seen a year. And also on that first sort of day or two of the cruise, everyone is in such a good mood and so excited. It's a real buzz, you know. And I end up smiling the whole week on that cruise ship because it's impossible to be in a bad mood. You know, the sun's shining and you got great music, a few drinks, and you're with friends. It's just it's the best gig.
It really is. I couldn't agree more. Before we let you guys go, I know you've got things to get back to, like, you know, not showering and learning to play your guitars.
Is there no water in your countries? Do you guys have no waters in England or the USA? Because we got tons of water here in Canada. Tons.
Water?
Water shower.
Oh, water. Yeah. We have the ability to shower. Just some people choose not to. Jay, you understand? Some people, it's an option. It's an option. It's a choice. You can see Pete's thinking about it. Pete's itchy just thinking about how much he hasn't showered.
Pete's itchy. That's a lovely sentiment, isn't it?
That's itchy
just
Pete
to
over
finish
there.
off, Pete's itchy.
I'm gonna send everybody home with that visual. Any last words for all our guests out there, or any of the folks that are big fans? Jay, we'll start with you. What do you got?
We can't wait to see you.
Or Anthony,
we can't wait to see all the. I call them family because the last cruise, I was standing at the entrance of the cruise ship, welcoming everybody on board. It was fun. It was really fun. We enjoy seeing all the stars, and we thank you for letting us be part of it.
Of course.
I can't wait to see the guys.
Love it. Pete, how about you, buddy?
I couldn't really add anything to that other than the fact that if you do get bored or depressed through this isolation thing, you just think of the cruise and the sun and having a great time, and that'll get you through the hard times for sure.
And we will be there soon enough. Malt Shop coming up in November, so I know we're all excited and can't wait to finally get there. And then Country right around the corner in January. So, well, gentlemen, I really appreciate all of you, and I appreciate all of your time. And I know she can probably hear me over there, Jay. So thank Linda as always. Tell her we love her.
Yes.
And
Thank
be.
you, Jason. Glad you had these guys on. It was fun to hear everybody.
Our pleasure. Thanks, Linda. And to all our guests that are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, learned a little bit more, a little insight into three of your very favorite characters on board the Malt Shop Memories and the Country Music Cruises. We have Pete, and we have Anthony and Jay. Thank you very much once again, gentlemen. Appreciate your time. And be safe, be smart, be healthy, wash your hands. Look forward to seeing all of you so very, very soon. And to all our guests out there, thanks for tuning in. Keep your YouTube open and ready to go, because you never know. We have new content coming out continuously right here. So keep an eye on this channel. You'll find some new stuff from us. Once again, I'm your virtual cruise host, Jason. Have a wonderful day. From all of us to all of you, be safe, be smart, be healthy, wash your hands. See you later.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Jason.